Welcome to Design Center. This is the part 2 of making of the Grecian neckline bodice pattern. I'm going to be showing you how to make the back pattern, and the part 1 is on my YouTube channel. To start off, using the right angle ruler, you make a horizontal line across your pattern paper. Then using the grading scale, you make a vertical line, and then you make the markings. Then using the ruler, you mark the waist level, the bust level, and 1.5 inch above the bust level. So here I mark the waist level, then the bust level, and 1.5 inch above that I mark another point. Then again, using the right angle ruler, I draw lines at 90 degrees from all 3 points. Then using the grading ruler, I go down by 6 by 8 inches for the neckline, and then I mark 3 inches again for the rectangle of the neckline, and then I connect the 2 points. Now using the French curves, the curviest part, I contour the shape of the neckline, and you can see the way I've placed my French curve, and that's how you should place it so that you get a perfect neckline with no mistakes and problems. Then I mark the shoulder point from, you can see I've placed the ruler, the tip is on the neckline's end, and I've marked 5.5 inches as my shoulder point measurement. And then on the level above the bust level, 1.5 inch above the bust level, I once again mark 5.5 inches. I join the 2 points at the right angle using the right angle ruler. Using the grading ruler, I go down from the top by an half inch, and I join the slope connected to the neckline. I mark the bust measurement as 9 inches on the chest level. I mark the waist measurement as 7.25 inches on the waist level, and join the bust point marking and the waist point marking with a dotted line. Then using the grading ruler, I mark 3.5 inches on the waistline, and that 3.5 inch is the measurement from bust point to bust point. And then using the right angle ruler, I draw a straight line at 90 degrees. Then using the grading ruler, I mark 6 by 8 inches on both sides, and then from the dotted line go out by 1.5 inch and connect it to the bust point line, and that is the new side seam. Then on the straight line, I go down by 1 inch and I connect it as dart legs on the 2 points that I made of 6 by 8 inches, and that is a dart that has been made now on the waist level. Using the inch tape, I fold it in half on the shoulder line and mark a point, and then again fold it in half and mark a point. I double check the width of the shoulder by placing the front pattern on top, and to make sure that the width are equal for the front and back. Using the French curve, I curve in the side seam because the pattern has to have curvature, it cannot be all straight lines. For the armhole, using the inch tape, I measure it, and this measurement is 9 inch. So at half of 9 inch, which is at 4.5 inch, I make a point, and then using the ruler, I go out by 3 by 8 inches or half inch, and then using the hip curve, I develop the armhole. And while making the armhole, I connect the shoulder point with the half inch point that I went out, and then blend it into the bust level point. And now I shape the armhole, as you can see, using the hip curve, and then just kind of blend it well. It's very important to have good blending so that the shape fits perfectly on the body. Now, using the grading scale, I join the dart to the shoulder point marking that I had made earlier. Now that all the construction and drafting is done, now we come to the shape of the back pattern, which is going to be made using the French curve. And you can see the way I've placed it, and now I am bringing that curvature and kind of completing the dotted lines. Now we pick up the dart leg and of the waist dart and put it on the other dart leg and close the waist dart. Then using the tracing wheel, we drew the dart so that it is, not off balance, and it's all complete and proper and properly closed. It's essential for the pattern to have panels, and that's why the drawing is very important. Once again, we lift the dart and close the dart and make it very smooth, and also tape the dart closed because we used the dart as a guideline and now we don't need it, so we're going to close the dart and tape it together. And then using pencil, the curvature that I had made with the French curve earlier has to be blended and smoothened out, like you can see I'm doing with the pencil, just giving it a smooth shape because that is the shape of the back pattern. So now that I've done that, that's complete. So now you can see it's got like a 3D structure. I've lifted it from the top, and this is the complete pattern before cutting it out. And yeah, that's about it. This is the finished pattern. And yes. So this is the cutout pattern, and I think you can figure out how I've cut this pattern out. It's quite easy to understand. And so yes, this is the back pattern of the Grecian flow bodice.